So I'm a little late on this, and I think the R. Kelly bail information has come out some time ago, and I'm really late on it. I've really just been really lazy, and I've had other things going on. But I wanted to step back and do this video and try to cover some of this information that's really been put out there, right? So I actually did a bail series or understanding why R. Kelly was denied bail. I think the name of that series is actually called, let me see if I can actually find it here. The name of the series is called What Denial of Bail Means for R. Kelly. It's a pretty old video. It's a video that I made the first time he applied for bail and the bail was denied. But that video in and of itself is kind of a pretty good background on the bail statute, the federal bail statute. So you should probably check that out if you want a lot of information on how the bail system works. So I'm making another video because obviously he reapplied for bail and that bail was denied. And from what I understand, I actually haven't read the actual motion that was put in place. But from what I understand, R. Kelly was asking for bail because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And he cited in his motion, I believe, that he wanted to avoid the risk of actually catching COVID-19. So this video is really going to look at the judge in this case who actually denied him bail. And it's also going to look at some of the possible reasons of why he was denied in bail. Now, first off, the judge in this case that denied him bail was actually Judge Ann Donnelly, or Anne Marie Donnelly, and I'll see if I can find a picture of her and I'll post it. But basically, she's in the Eastern District of New York. Now, the way this worked, or I think the strategy that they went with, is that they went to Chicago first and they asked for bail. And then they told the judge in Chicago Federal Court, they said, hey, hold off before making any judgment. We want to go to New York first and see what they have to say. And the reason we want to do this is because if you grant the bail and New York does not, then we'll end up in a situation where R. Kelly will be in the same situation he's already in, except it'll be in New York and it'll just further complicate things. So they applied for bail in Chicago and then they went to New York to get permission to be released on bail in New York as well, hoping that if New York said yes, I would imagine it would have created momentum and Chicago would have been more likely to say yes as well. So basically, it seems like to me, Judge Ann Donnelly, she basically said in the document that Kelly was not eligible for the Bail Reform Act, which was a provision that may permit a defender's release where, for example, he is suffering from a terminal illness or serious injury. Donnelly cited that Kelly claimed that the pandemic has prevented him from meeting his lawyers due to the Bureau of Prisons' efforts to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 outbreak. And then she goes on to say, while I'm sympathetic to the defendant's understandable anxieties about COVID-19, he has not established a compelling reason warranting his release, right? And she continues. And then she basically goes on to say, moreover, officials in Chicago have advised the government that doctors have completed all the treatment for the defendant's recent operation. So if you guys don't know, R. Kelly went through some type of medical procedure. I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically R. Kelly went through a medical treatment early on, and this injury was one of the reasons he was asking for bail, because he wanted more time to recuperate. And finally, this is the part where she gets a little rude and she basically tries to, rip R. Kelly a new one. And she basically says the defendant is currently in custody because of the risk that he will flee or attempt to obstruct justice, threaten or intimidate prospective witnesses. And she said that Kelly has not explained how those risks have changed, right? So what I like to do now is that we're just going to take a look at the statute. Again, I'll maybe post a link to the end of this video of the series that I did earlier, but this is really just going to be a summary of the video series that I did earlier.